I never imagined the man I built my whole world around would look me in the eyes and smirk like that. But he did. And that single moment shattered everything I thought we were. My name's Alina, and for 12 years I poured my heart into Lumina Events, the luxury event company that became the talk of the city. Alex and I started it in our tiny apartment with nothing but late night dreams and my old notebook full of themes and timelines. I was the one who stayed up until dawn designing every wedding, every corporate gala, every detail that made clients cry happy tears. I trained the staff, calmed the panicked brides, turned impossible venues into magic. Alex was the face, charming the investors, sealing the deals. We were the perfect team, or so I believed. Our penthouse overlooked the skyline, our calendar was booked 6 months out, and our team of 30 adored us. Or at least they adored the version of us I worked so hard to protect. I handled the tears, the all-nighters, the creative soul of Lumina. Alex handled the spotlight, and I was happy with that. I loved him more than I loved the success. Every time a client hugged me and whispered, "Elena, you made my dream real," I'd glance at Alex across the room and feel proud that we did this together. Until that staff strategy meeting last spring. I stood at the head of the long glass table, heart racing with excitement. I'd spent weeks perfecting the vision, expanding Lumina into destination events across Europe. I laid out the slides, the budgets, the client leads I'd already nurtured in secret. The room was silent, hopeful. Then Alex leaned back in his leather chair, that familiar half-smile curling his lips, and said it loud enough for everyone to hear. "Sweetheart, this is all you can handle. Let's keep things realistic, shall we?" A few nervous chuckles rippled through the staff. My cheeks burned. I laughed it off, sat down, told myself it was just his way of staying in control. But something inside me cracked. That night, as I lay beside him pretending to sleep, I noticed his phone lighting up with messages he quickly silenced. He'd been distant for weeks. Late nights at the office, canceled dinners, that new sparkle in his eyes when he mentioned our head coordinator, Sophia. I told myself I was imagining it. I told myself I was overreacting. But what I didn't know that day was that his smirk wasn't teasing. It was the first thread of a betrayal that would unravel my entire life. 2 weeks later, everything changed. I decided to surprise him at the office after a late client dinner. The building was quiet, lights low. I stepped into the hallway outside his corner suite and froze. Through the half-open door, I heard soft laughter. His laughter, mixed with hers. Sophia. I pushed the door wider, and there they were, my husband and the woman I had mentored for 3 years, wrapped in each other like they belonged there. His hands on her waist, her lips on his neck, the same desk where I had once cried happy tears after landing our biggest contract. My world went silent. I couldn't even scream. I just stood there, heart hammering so loud I thought they would hear it. When Alex finally noticed me, he didn't look guilty. He looked annoyed, like I had interrupted something inconvenient. "Elena," he said, straightening his shirt, voice calm and cold, "you weren't supposed to see this." I managed to whisper, "How long?" He shrugged. "Long enough to realize you've been holding me back. You're good at the pretty details, but this," he gestured around the empire we built together, "this requires vision, and let's be honest, this is all you can handle." Those same words. This time, they didn't sting. They destroyed me. I drove home in tears, the city lights blurring into streaks of pain. For days, I couldn't eat. I sat on our balcony staring at the skyline we used to dream about, replaying every late night I chose him over sleep. Every time I defended him to the staff, when he took credit for my ideas. I felt so small, so broken. I questioned everything, my talent, my worth, even the love I thought was real. The staff started treating me differently too, Whispers followed me in the hallways. Sophia gave me pitying smiles in meetings. Alex acted like nothing had happened, expecting me to keep smiling for the clients, while he planned his next move. I almost gave up. I almost packed a bag and disappeared. The pain was so deep I felt it in my bones, like my soul had been ripped open and left exposed. Nights blurred into mornings where I cried until my eyes were swollen. I wondered if I had ever really mattered, or if I was just the quiet engine he used until something shinier came along. But one rainy afternoon, sitting alone in our empty conference room, something shifted. I looked at the mood boards I had pinned to the walls, my ideas, my heart, my vision. I realized the staff didn't love Lumina because of Alex's charm. They loved it because of the way I made them feel seen and valued. I had built relationships that ran deeper than any contract, and in that moment, the tears stopped. The hurt didn't vanish, but it transformed into something fiercer, a quiet, burning strength. I made a choice. I wouldn't scream, I wouldn't beg, I would rise. In secret, I started building something new, Phoenix Events. I reached out to the most loyal team members one by one, late at night, voice trembling at first, but growing steadier with each call. I showed them the truth in quiet coffee meetings. I shared my new vision, events with soul, where creativity came first and no one was ever belittled. Slowly, 8 of our best people, designers, coordinators, the heart of Lumina, chose me. They were tired of the favoritism, tired of watching me shrink. We worked in whispers, after hours, building contracts and client pipelines I had quietly nurtured for months. Alex had no idea. He still smirked at me across the dinner table, still believed I was exactly what he said I was, limited, until everything changed. The annual all-staff town hall was supposed to be Alex's moment of triumph. He'd called it the future of Lumina, and the entire team gathered in the grand ballroom we had designed together. Crystal chandeliers sparkled. My old mood board still hung on the walls. Sophia sat beside him on stage like she already owned the room. I wasn't even invited. But I walked in anyway. The moment I stepped through the double doors in the black dress I'd worn to our first big gala, every head turned. Alex's face went pale. The microphone in his hand trembled slightly as he tried to smile. "Elena, this is a closed meeting." I kept walking until I stood right in front of the team, my team. My voice was steady, soft, but it carried through the silent room like thunder. 12 years ago, I helped build this company with love, I said. I gave it every late night, every creative spark, every piece of my heart. And today, I'm here to give you all a choice. I clicked to the remote. The projector lit up behind me, not with slides about expansion, but with the messages Alex had sent Sophia, the late-night promises, the cruel jokes about keeping Elena in her place, the plan to buy me out quietly after the next quarter. Gasps rippled through the room. Sophia's face drained of color. Alex lunged for the remote, but I held it calmly. Then I looked straight at the staff, the people who had seen me cry in the break room, who had celebrated every win with me, and I spoke the words I'd practiced in the mirror through tears. Phoenix Events is already alive. 8 of you already know that because you helped me build it in secret. We open our doors next month. Anyone who wants to work somewhere you're respected, somewhere your ideas matter, is welcome to walk out with me right now. No hard feelings, just truth. For 3 long heartbeats, the room was completely silent. No one moved. Then the head designer stood up. Then the senior coordinator. Then the entire creative team. One by one, they rose, gathering their things, eyes wide with shock and something like awe. Alex's mouth opened and closed, but no words came. His smirk was gone. All that remained was disbelief. By the time I reached the door, more than half the staff was behind me. The ones who stayed looked at their boss like they were seeing him for the first time, and they didn't like what they saw. Within 3 months, Lumina was bleeding clients. The ones who had always asked for Elena's touch followed me. Alex tried calling, tried apologizing, tried threatening. None of it worked. Sophia left him too when the money dried up. Last I heard, he was selling the penthouse to keep the lights on. Today, I stand in my own bright studio, sunlight pouring across new mood boards, my team laughing in the next room. My heart is no longer broken. It's whole, stronger, wiser, kinder. I don't hate Alex anymore. I pity the man who thought he could dim someone else's light and still shine. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this: never let anyone tell you what you can handle. When the person you love most betrays you, the pain will either bury you or it will light a fire that no smirk can ever put out. I chose the fire, and from those ashes, I rose, higher, brighter, and finally free.